friends. Email some people. This is ridiculous. Anyone there?
I'm here.
You're there. Good. Excellent, Jill. Just wondering if anyone else is there on the live streaming. Okay. Get that gone. Hello, hello, anybody. Have I lost you all? I've got one person. Okay. So, hi, Pete. Good to see you. Let's see if I can get some more people in. Oh, hang on. Why don't I do it via? I'll do it here. Okay. Anyone else who's logging in, just bear with me. I'm just going to send this latest link out because it seems to be working. But that will take a couple of secs. Actually, Pete, if I sent you the link, would you be able to send it out via? Would you be able to send it out via MailChimp? Do you have your computer there, or is it easier for me to do it? 3 people here now. Who else is there? Who else is on? I think we're working. Sorry, everyone. Create email. All right. Easier for me. Okay, Pete, that's fine. I'll teach you how to do it before next time we have a disaster. I shall do it. Everyone else, come on in and join us. I have some chicken. I have some wine. It's all very nice. If we can get the internet to talk to us, it would be even better. That's the Moorooduc, Jill. It is delicious. The Gamay is pretty yummy too, though, I reckon. The chicken's awesome. Pete, you said there are 3 people, but nobody else is talking to me, so I'm not sure who else is there. Okay, here we go. We'll have a few people unsubscribing from the Drinks with Kate mailing list tomorrow for sure, with all of these silly emails going out. Save content. Yeah? Oh, good. Design email. Who else is there? Anne, hi. No, it's working. I'm just trying to send out the link to people so they can find us. So bear with me for a couple more minutes. Keep enjoying your wine and your snacks, your chicken snacks. How are they going? And I'll be back and on the job any minute now. If we can have some more friends along, that would be really nice. Okay, here we go. Come on. Everything's so slow. I've got to say, Jill's just sat down after finishing off the chicken and bringing it out to me and feeding my dog. And she's finally sat down to have a glass of wine herself, and she likes both of them. So that's good. You like the Moorooduc best? Of course you do, Jill. Possibly a cellar palate. This link works. Okay, save and close. Continue. Who's coming back? Well, and they were good but nearly gone. I know, I'm so sorry. And we've kind of like missed the whole Drinks with Kate now, haven't we? But at least we've got 5 of you back. So, okay. Now that I've got 5 of you, they are both quite different. I really love the there's like a violety aromatic to the Gamay, which I think is really special. And the Moorooduc Pinot looks delicious right now. So, 2020, I think 2020 was a pretty lovely vintage for both parts of the world. Here we go. I'm just sending out that link. So anyone else who wants to come back, probably most people have just gone to have their dinner. But anyway, we'll continue with just the few of us who are here. There's 4 or 5 people watching. Yeah. Okay. Kay, hi. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I finally had to turn the computer off and turn it back on again. I should have done that right at the beginning. And it seems to be working now. Lucky. Fingers crossed. Okay. So for those of you who are on, I have I've eaten one of the. It's not quite as pretty as it was because I've got a chewed on bone, but I've got the poulet au vinaigre that Jill's given me with a lovely little flower and bay leaf garnish. While I was getting us up and going, I had a little nibble on one of those, and the chicken is fantastic with this wine. And I think that little vinegary sauce is amazing, Kay. I highly recommend you try the recipe because I think that Jill and Peter will attest that it was quite a good, relatively easy thing to make. And that's my plan this year, is to try and find dishes that are going to be easy. Hello, Craig. Hello, Michael. Good to have you back. Find some dishes that are easy to make, that are delicious and work really well with the wine. So, okay, Craig, Gamay, a little more tannic or fuller bodied? Yes, both of those things. It's darker coloured. It's a bit more tannic. It's got slightly higher acidity. It's fuller bodied. And these Cru Beaujolais, which are so different from the Beaujolais and Beaujolais Nouveau that we used to sort of see in the 80s and early 90s in Australia. And I'll talk about Beaujolais Nouveau if we get a chance in a minute, which is probably the sort of Beaujolais that's put some of you off Beaujolais in the past. But this is a really seriously delicious, crunchy wine. Thanks, Jack. Got back. Well done. Yes, absolutely more tannin, but a bit more acid as well. And you come back to the Moorooduc, and it's silky and velvety and has this beautiful cherry fruitedness to it, whereas the Gamay has definitely got that sort of smoky forest floor thing going on, but it's also got violets and rose petals and almost a plummy kind of a fruit character to it, I reckon. There were in like a few chat rooms ago before we seized up. I think Michael or someone, maybe it was Craig, someone was saying that there were some nice Gamays being grown and made on the Mornington Peninsula. I think the one that I know of that is most famous down here is the Moorooduc Estate, and I agree, it's a very nice wine. And one of the other reasons that I wanted to drink Gamay with you guys tonight is that we are still planning our little experimental vineyard in the new replanting of the Pinot vineyard, and so Gamay's definitely on the list of grape varieties that we might decide to plant a few vines of. It's probably because someone else has done it here before. We're probably less likely to trial it here, but I do think that when it's done well and when it's grown in the right place and when it's made well, it can be really delicious. Beaujolais chilled, absolutely, Anne. So the Beaujolais Nouveau movement was a marketing program that happened in Beaujolais in the 1980s. So traditionally in France, at the end of vintage, they have a party where they drink the freshly fermented juice, which has only just become wine. When it's red wine, it tends to be fairly rough. It hasn't been through malolactic fermentation. And it's nice for a party when you're there at the vineyard and you're drinking what you've just picked and but it doesn't travel very well because it's not really finished wine. But in Beaujolais, they turned because your sort of generic Beaujolais is made very differently from this wine, and it tends to be from fruit that's been much higher cropping, less complex, less concentrated, less structured. and then they'll use carbonic maceration for the fermentation, which gives you both a sort of more of a floral lift, but also a bubblegummy kind of a taste to the wine. It's got a real sort of sweet shop kind of character going on there. And those wines, they're light, they're fruity, they're a bit bubblegummy, and they're great, chilled, drunk really young, all of those things. But when that did really well locally, the French made up a marketing campaign that they sold to America and to Australia and to England, which is called Beaujolais Nouveau, which you will probably remember. And the Beaujolais Nouveau wines had much more beautiful labels. They'd usually have lots more colours on them, flowers, that kind of thing. And they're all about drinking the Beaujolais as young and as fresh as you possibly could. And so they air freighted it out to the rest of the world. And it was as a result, much more expensive than the same wine that got shipped out in the old-fashioned way that arrived 6 months later. So in Australia, we did that for a little while, and then people kind of caught on that it was a bit of a marketing exercise and nothing else. Yes, definitely to go with Nouvelle Cuisine, but they still love Beaujolais Nouveau in America. And they have the campaign every year, and they have a party, and wines get air freighted out. It's a little bit closer to air freight the wines to America than it is to Australia. But the wine's about twice as expensive as exactly the same wine that's released, 6 months later. Very, very little difference. So Cody was going to ask how it compares with Mornington Peninsula iterations. Eldridge Estate is honestly the only Gamay that I've tasted from down here. There's a few people who are playing around with Pinot Noir as well, which is seen as another sort of related but slightly more obscure cousin of Pinot Noir. But I think the Eldridge Estate Gamay, David always wanted to make that wine in a fairly serious way. So it was probably more similar to these Cru Beaujolais, like this one that we're tasting, than the Beaujolais Nouveau and the sort of the entry-level Beaujolais that had lots of carbonic maceration. I've only had a few of the Eldridge Estate Gamays, and to be honest, I like the Pinots better, which is one of the reasons that for a long time I've been kind of a bit about Gamay. But also a lot of Beaujolais, particularly from younger producers, will tend to be a little bit on the natural wine side, and that often means sometimes some Brettanomyces, sometimes some volatile acidity, and all of those characters are fine if they're in balance with everything else, but they tend to overwhelm the character of the wine. So I think this wine actually compares quite favourably with a New World version of Gamay because it's clean and it's fresh and it's really nicely made. It doesn't have any of those kind of funky characters that you see from some more natural winemaking. I'd be really interested. I'd be amazed if Jeremy had followed us here from all of the different iterations of tonight's links and failed links and that kind of thing. But if Jeremy was on the chat, then he would probably have something to say about this wine, because he had a Beaujolais recently, which I've still got the bottle of that I haven't opened, that he found undrinkable because it had far too much Brettanomyces for his taste. As a trained winemaker, he's very sensitive to it. So, I don't see any here. I think this wine's pretty clean and fresh and bright, and this is how Gamay and Beaujolais should look, I think. Michael, go Durif. Michael, I think I can categorically say that we won't be planting Durif here at Moorooduc Estate, but that doesn't mean that we will be planting Gamay either. There's a few things on the list, and I'm actually going to see. It's probably going to be impossible to list, and I'm actually going to see. It's probably going to be impossible to get stock of this wine. But I was in McLaren Vale a couple of weeks ago and tasted a beautiful Mencía. Mencía is a grape variety that's grown in the northwest of Spain, and it's also a little Pinot Noir-like, and Mencía is pretty special. And a winery Oh gosh, now I'm going blank because I've had too much stress tonight. Ministry of Clouds is the name of the winery, and they're McLaren Vale based, but their fruit for the Menthea came from Adelaide Hills, I believe, and the wine was delicious. So I'm going to give them a call and see if I can buy enough of their Menthea to be able to put it into maybe the next or the one after that Drinks with Kate box, because that's another really cool grape variety that we don't really know in Australia, and that that I think could maybe do quite well here at Moorooduc Estate. Yeah, I thought you might have been joking about the Durif, Michael. That's okay. Yeah, maybe they'll send us some cuttings as well, or we could go on a road trip. Road trip. So, you know, we're still talking about you know, doing some travels with Drinks with Kate, and Italy's, you know, looming in the background for next year. But maybe we need to do a little kind of mini bus road trip to South Australia and go to maybe McLaren Vale or something like that. I don't know, just saying, you know, it could be fun. Okay, it's Mencia, but it's pronounced Menthea by the Spanish, because CIA is a. We could go to Rutherglen, Anne. Correct, that's true. We could. And this is the problem, that once we talk about a road trip, everyone wants to go everywhere. So maybe we'll have a couple. Maybe even a road trip around the Mornington Peninsula. Might not be so dumb. If we all turn up at night, we can go there and take some cuttings. Yeah, Craig, absolutely. What do I think about the North Italian varieties? Michael, I love some North Italian varieties. In fact, I don't know, you might have missed the news that we've already planted some Nebbiolo here at Moorooduc Estate, which is pretty awesome. I also think that Barbera could be fun here. Well, Crittenden could take us there, but the Crittenden Northern Italian red varietals that they make, their fruit all comes from the King Valley. So I think we're certainly pioneering Nebbiolo on the Mornington Peninsula. I think Crittenden grows some Arnaeus, the white variety from Piedmont, on the Mornington Peninsula. I think that's pretty sexy. But yeah, we're interested in, well, we've got some Nebbiolo planted, so we'll hopefully be able to share that with you in 5 or 6 years' time. Lindsay's got some Sangiovese at Moorooduc Estate, and he's kind of battling with that a little bit at the moment. When we talked to him, he was saying that it's quite a fussy grape variety as well. And that kind of that's backed up by some Tuscan producers that I've spoken to about Sangiovese. We also like an Austrian red grape variety called Blaufränkisch, which we think is pretty sexy. I haven't seen huge success with that variety here in Australia yet, but there's a couple of people who've played with it. I know Mac Forbes has. Had some successes with it in the past. But yeah, look, I think we're at Moorooduc, we're going to be Pinot Noir, Chardonnay geeks forever, or for as long as we can, weather permitting. Gruner, I do love a bit of Gruner, Michael, absolutely. Blaufränkisch does sound like a blue nun, Anne, but Blaufränkisch is quite different and rather delicious. So we might see if we can slip a Blaufränkisch into one of our boxes this year, probably from Austria rather than from the Yarra Valley. Coddy, Blaufränkisch is also grown in Hungary, I was going to say, but that's not right. Because, as you know, we have Neusiedlersee, which is the lake that is on the border of Austria and Hungary. And so a lot of those grape varieties cross the border. Blaufränkisch, definitely. Peter, they were talking about what? Have your half of your word is covered by the heart, so I will I'll see if I can work that out when somebody else makes a comment. Someone else make a comment so I can read Peter's comment. Hopefully, I'm not sure how many of you are. Oh, Jackie, that's exciting. Up in Bright, they grow a lot of Italian varieties. Feather top, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cava, Peter. Cava is Oh, do you mean Cava, the sparkling sparkling Spanish wine? Or are you talking about Cava, which is a muddy brown drink from somewhere in the islands? Yeah, muddy brown. Yeah, we're not going to be growing. We're not going to be making Cava here. I think that's a little. I think that's a little mind altering as well. Papua New Guinea. Yes, thank you, Anne. Okay, the Littles would be into a road trip to South Australia as well. Excellent. Craig, meant to tell you, after many different Moorooduc Estate and other fine wines we had over Christmas, the absolute star was 2014 Estate. Pinot? Pinot Gris? Okay. Thank you, Craig. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I don't know how many of you are eating or have eaten poulet au vinaigre with this wine, but it just goes to show that the French are absolute masters of the balance of acid and protein and fat and salts. And there's definitely quite a bit of, is it onion or shallot or something like that in there, Jill? Jill and Richard are talking to each other. Onion, shallot in the chicken. And Moorooduc vinegar. So I just think when I think about matching wine to food, vinegar is something that people go, oh no, that's not going to work at all. You've got to keep away from vinegar. But having the right amount of acidity in the food can work really nicely with wine. Thank you, Peter. Shallots. So the acidity in the sauce has been sort of tempered by some olive oil, butter. It tastes like butter, and the chicken fat as well, and the chicken protein, the meat, and it's such a delicious combination, and it works really well with this wine because this wine's got quite tangy acidity, but also really nice tannins. So good fun. Pinot Gris, I thought that's what you were saying, Craig, and I will absolutely won't give up on Pinot Gris. And I think that the big revelation for me from when we started doing Drinks with Kate was when we started tasting those back vintage Pinot Gris that we still got a little bit of. So I think we might have to revisit them again this year and see how they go with some different dishes, which would be rather delish. So yeah, I love the estate Pinot Gris that we're making. So I'm so glad that was the star for you at Christmas. Cody, when I was kind of putting that recipe out, I thought this is a bit of a risk, but you know, we're here to be a little bit risky with Drinks with Kate. But it was listed in 3 different French cookbooks as being a speciality of the Burgundy Lyonnaise region, which is where Beaujolais comes from. And I just think it turned out to be a really fantastic food and wine choice. So if you didn't make the chicken, have a go at it sometime and have it with some Beaujolais, and I think you'll be really happy. Now, does anyone have any other questions? Because I feel we wasted a lot of time and we've only been talking for about 23 minutes, but you've also been sitting around eating and drinking for an hour waiting for me to get my connection back up. The Gamay has taken on a little taffy apple nose, Kay. I agree. It's that richness of fruit, and then that lovely acidity kind of. It's like the perfect toffee apple. That the toffee and the tanginess of the apple kind of work together, which is really nice. I'm so glad, Coddy. And if you can't find Verjus, which I know that Coddy and John, I think you've probably got the last of the Moorooduc Estate Verjus, and Richard and Jeremy have been adamant about the fact that we're not going to be making it again, which is a little sad. But if you can't find Verjus, then good vinegar is going to work really, really well. Can we do other cross-continental tastings again? Absolutely, Michael. So my plan for this year is, as well as finding some really fun recipes for you to play with, that we will have a guest wine in each box. And I thought, you know, any feedback from you guys is very much appreciated. I think it would be nice to have some local wines, some Australian wines as guest wines, but I think also having some wines that I love from Europe will be pretty awesome. Craig, can we do a Chenin versus versus Pinot Gris. That would be fun. Absolutely, we can. I shall get my thinking hat on, and I'll get on with that. That would be super. Yeah, that would be really good. I actually, I nearly, instead of doing this Beaujolais, there's a really lovely Pinot Gris that, again, our distributors are bringing in from Alsace. It's a white Pinot Gris. It's delicious. So that could also be fun. But I think Chenin versus one of our Pinot Gris, particularly if I can find one with a little bit of age, and sometimes we can find some Loire Chenin with a bit of age, that would be super fun. Because Chenin traditionally has really high natural acidity, whereas Pinot Gris has that medium acidity softness in the mid-palate. So that'd be very cool. All right, team. Well, it's been lovely. I'm so sorry that we had so many technical issues. I think it was probably my computer rather than anything else. But we have had quite a lot of new wiring put in here in the last few days, so that might also have not helped us. We will get ourselves organised. Oh, good! I'm so glad, Sonia, and got here 4 bottles hoarded. That's pretty precious stuff. Thank you, Michael. Very kind. I didn't really talk about the Moorooduc Estate Pinot because we talked about that last week. It's still lovely. It's got all sorts of deliciousness. It is gorgeous. Thank you, Jackie. I think it's good. I think they're so different, so gorgeous. They've got, you can see a little bit of resemblance in the 2 grape varieties, but lots of fun. Oh, Craig, you read my mind. One of the things I was going to talk about was to give you an update on harvest. We're starting picking on Monday, which is very exciting. It's come around very quickly. We had a look at a whole lot of samples today, and the burst of hot weather that we had this week has really kind of kicked things along. And yeah, we're going to be starting picking at least one parcel of Chardonnay on Monday, and then some Pinot Noir on Tuesday. Some Pinot Noir on Tuesday, some other stuff on Wednesday. So it's all about to crank up and crack on. And yep, watch this space. I'll be in my t-shirt and wine-soaked pants next week. Do we need some pickers? Oh, sure. Look, Craig, we probably don't need pickers, but you know, if he's looking for a job, tell him to send me an email. We might be able to help him out with something. Cotty is liking the Moorooduc Estate Pinot Noir the best. Excellent. Michael, we're hoping that harvest is going. Dan is looking for a job. Okay. It has come around really quickly, Jackie. Thank you. My current shirt is not stained. It's printed. It's different. This is fashion, Michael. Sorry. Stained artistically, Dad's saying yes. I'll have the wine-stained shirt next week, and we can compare and contrast. It's all right. Thank you. Yes, I think I've responded to everyone now. I hope you've all got a little bit of wine left. It's been a trial this evening, I've got to say, but it's lovely to have 10 of you all still here. You're very welcome to ask any more questions or make any more comments before I sign off. But we'll work really hard on trying to make sure that we have a better connection next week. Are we making any new origami wines this year? Craig, I'm not sure. That I'm still pushing for a late harvest Pinot Gris, and Jeremy has done some research on. We looked at some late harvest Pinot Gris from Alsace, and he did some measurements of acid and sugar levels and things like that. So never say never, but we haven't actually made a plan yet, although we've all been kind of running around like headless chooks for the last couple of weeks trying to get organised. Thank you, Cuddy. This is actually a Melbourne designer called Tiffany Trelaw, and she loves her Japanese prints, and she finds her images and then she prints them onto the material and then turns them into clothes, which is rather wonderful. It does help, Jackie, when we have 2 bottles, absolutely. Kay would like a compare and contrast with the Bellarine Peninsula versus Mornington Peninsula. We can absolutely do that. Yes, Pinot Noir, we can do that. We actually did that. The MW program that when I was in Adelaide a couple of weeks ago, we did a Pinot Noir tasting, and we did Bannockburn Pinot Noir next to the Garden Vineyard Moorooduc Estate Pinot Noir, which are both whole bunch wines. So that was pretty interesting, and I'll see if I can make that happen for us again. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna run out of ideas for this year, so that'll be really cool. Craig, we are also looking at rebranding the Rough Play and possibly the Magic Stalk Shiraz, because I think that those names that we came up with during COVID haven't really translated into the seriousness that the wines are. So watch this space. We might even ask you guys for some ideas, although you know, who knows what will happen. But the origami wines we're always doing trials. So if we do a trial that creates anything delicious, then we'll have an origami wine. Otherwise, we're definitely going to keep making the Pinot Gris on skins. We'll keep playing around with those other origami wines and 50 Shades of Red. Stop it, Craig. See, this is why we don't. I love the names too, Coddy, but we haven't really had huge success in selling the wines, which maybe we just need to market them a bit harder. But anyway, any feedback? I love the names. I think they're super fun. But the wines kind of are sitting around in the storeroom waiting for people to buy them and drink them. So we'll put some in some boxes again in the next 12 months and give you guys a chance to have a play with them as well. All right, guys, I think I shall love you and leave you. It's nearly 7:10, and I'm sure that some of you have got places to be and people to see. Very sorry about our technical issues tonight. I hope that you got lots out of the Grenache and the Pinot Noir. Anyway, I will see if I can find a delicious recipe to go with the 2011 Moorooduc Estate Chardonnay I think we're doing next week, if I remember correctly. And I'll see you all then. Thanks, everyone. Love you lots. Thanks for persisting. Cheers.